Hi, I'm Debra Birnbaum with Gold Derby, and I've gathered the Fantastic Four so that we can debate Best Actor predictions. Scott, you want to start with this one?
Sure. I think there are three that you can take to the bank. You've got Ray Fiennes for Conclave, who is one of the most respected actors working and has never won an Oscar. I think that he's the reason Conclave is as beloved as it is, certainly one of them. You've got Adrien Brody, a past winner, still the reigning youngest ever winner for the pianist, who's now up for the Brutalist. And then you've got the guy who's hoping to break his record as the youngest ever Best Actor winner, Timothée Chalamet, for the Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic. So those are the three who I think we can probably all agree are in.
Yeah.
Yes.
No arguments? No arguments.
For me, I think there's four. I think Colman Domingo's in.
He's certainly
even no matter what Sing Sing does, I think Coleman's in.
It's the fifth slot.
Okay, so let's argue the fifth slot.
Really hard to pick. Is it Jesse Eisenberg for a real pain?
I wasn't thinking of him necessarily. There's some really dark horses here if they see the movies. There's a movie called The Performance that Jeremy Piven is in. When you see this movie, you go, whoa. This guy tap dances like you've never seen, and it's a story about the Holocaust and World War II in a very different way. And that's the kind of movie, and he's out there doing this. But
that would be Andrea Riseborough level.
People see it, and you need to do Andrea Riseborough. I know they discouraged it and said, "Oh, this and that." It works
as long as you don't denigrate somebody else. It's okay. So I think
yes, but the grassroots campaign is one thing at the expense of someone else.
Yeah,
I do want to bring up a question though. Before the election, Sebastian Stan would have been in the conversation. We have not talked about the impact of the election.
I think he should be in the conversation.
He still
that
is.
movie
You think he still
was
is?
never in the conversation.
For
It played in Cannes.
for performance.
It played in Cannes, and it's played well in Europe, but Americans don't want to see it. That's just the bottom line.
And I would say I disagree with you, but I think his performance was great. But I think people will not vote for him post-election.
I think you get into the international vote conversation again because there's always some like I think that's why Paul Mescal got in for After Sun that year. I think he got helped out by the international vote of the acting branch. So you start to kind of like look at the four that we're talking about, and then you go through Sebastian Stan, who has another performance this year.
Different
and
man.
I think that is what's hurting him probably more than people not wanting to watch The Apprentice, is that he's actually great in both movies.
But people haven't seen these movies.
But
to your point earlier.
But they are trying, and the other day I did a Q&A at CAA with Sebastian and Ali Abbasi, the director. And I just walked in there, no notes or anything, because at this point, post-election, I just use it as therapy. And I just said, what the hell, and where it's going. And all we talked about on that was the reaction since the election. Ollie thinks it's actually turning around. He's talking to people. Sebastian went on about all the actors. He said, big names come up to me and talk about this. Maybe that's going to have an effect. One thing he told me before we went on that since went viral from this conversation was that Variety was doing an actors on actors thing, and they couldn't find an actor that would do it. He said we couldn't get through the publicist or anything.
Which is ironic because at the Actor Roundtable, where he was representing both of his movies, the performance that, again, the other people, the other participants who are all pretty major contenders were focused on was him in The Apprentice. And I still believe that other actors, fellow actors in the actors branch, can make that happen. I'm not saying it's a done deal at all, but I would not be shocked if he and Jeremy Strong were to get nominated.
Well, my second big fuck you of all these things would be get that nominated, because the Academy, the last thing they want are nominations. I'm sorry to speak for them, but I believe this. The last thing they want are nominations for this to bring up Trump and politicize
You are correct.
the Oscars.
Yes, for sure.
So.
We didn't talk about Danielle Craig.
Right.
Daniel Craig.
Oh, God.
There's a reason for that.
I mean, listen, we can all like argue about like who we think that fifth spot is, and I think we all kind of have our like 5, 6, and for me, my 5, 6 are between Daniel Craig and Paul Mescal. Daniel Craig, because he's never been nominated before. You can have your feelings about Queer. I actually really like Queer, and I was surprised I did, because I didn't think I was. But, you know, he's never been nominated before. In many ways, it is the performance of his career, but is going to have a tough time getting through more mainstream Academy members. When it comes to Paul Mescal, popcorn movie, and this is a little bit on the Top Gun Maverick level of like, you know, I always say like no pun intended, but like a big dumb movie, right? Something that people just like watch and just like sit back. But people,
Russell Crowe won for the first.
I know,
He did.
and that
He
was
did.
and Russell Crowe got in for the first, and conventional standards wouldn't, maybe under our guidelines today. And Paul just got in 2 years ago. So
And
why
that was a
wasn't it?
shocker to me that he got
I
in for
think
that
he
movie.
did that.
So, but
You
Gladiators.
did?
That's a good
Wow,
one.
good for you.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised. I didn't
You
think
the
anybody
Brits
had
were going to
seen
go
it.
for
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
it was
The
so
actor's
small.
son, and which is completely different. So if the actors recognized him there, now doing his Kirk Douglas Spartacus thing here, and
It's going to be widely seen. Everyone's going to
and
see it.
following
Everyone's
Russell
gonna talk
Crowe,
about
I
it.
think he actually deserves to be. And I thought he was very
and
good.
let me just add here, I am also one that looks at this really with a math lens. If you think Denzel Washington, which we'll get to in another, but if you think Denzel Washington really is contending, they don't watch a lot of movies. They go down the ballot. That's why I think if you have Denzel high, chances are Paul's close to getting in. Lone nominees like aren't as frequent as
Which
they
would
used
be
to be.
probably that
Queer
would be the day, right?
alone
Queer
nominee.
Which makes it
and many
seem less
people won't
likely.
Yeah.
see queer.
Right.
Yeah.
Or finish
That's
it.
the issue.
No, I think that's a
Yeah.
very
And it's
true
also
point of
not
this
an
year.
easy watch.
And
It's-
that's-
Yes, it's not- yeah.
It's pretty much of a slow slog.
Until it turns
of an
into the
avant-garde.
lost city of Z. And
I mean that's why I think it's Paul.
He's great.
But I
It's
think,
not
no,
his.
like, I think
Craig
it's a
is
really
very
good
so was
good.
Leslie
Yes, he's very
Manville. Who
good.
the hell knew that was Leslie
Right.
I'd
Manville?
like to see the costume designer get something
Yes,
for that
sure.
movie. That's the
But I
most
think that you
deserving
bring,
one.
no, you bring up a really good
makeup
point.
was
Because I
great.
think there are going to be a lot of films like Conclave. If you see Conclave, you'll check off a lot of boxes.
Right.
You'll see a lot of performances. Brutalist, it'll hit a lot of
Yeah.
boxes for you. Gladiator, I think is going to do the same thing. And I think some of the films that just have one performance are going to struggle.
Which is
for that
why I
reason.
think we have to consider that maybe John David Washington is in the realm of shot because of Danielle Deadweiler. And again, if they're watching that for her, chances are they may pick up on
Or
him
she's
too.
not.
Or
Stay tuned.
flip side, maybe she's
That's
more
another
lovable.
category.
Another
But,
Yeah.
just a quick last.
But John David Washington is very good.
He's very good in
He's
that
very
movie.
good.
Yeah.
Listen.
And he's
But
been
there's a
stuck
lot
before.
to see. We're asking people to see a lot.
Wow,
The
movies.
more-
No, he's good. You know, it's an ensemble piece for me. So I don't
Right.
know that any of them are the lead, in my opinion. They're all like kind of supporting
Just
each
though
other.
to come back to this point that about coattails and all that. One of the things we know that they have flooded the academy with new members over the last few years, a lot of new members.
Yes.
And it's now at a larger, around 10,000 more than it's ever been before.
10,000 total.
10,000
Yeah.
total. Many of these people, by design, are younger and still active in their careers, which means they have less time to watch movies. So we are having more people voting, having seen fewer movies than ever before. So I think that that is why we have been seeing, and I think it's why we may continue to see the less spreading around of the nominees where you have these one or two people. It's people. All right, if I've seen 7 movies, 8, whatever, which is disheartening, but if they
Yeah.
have,
Right.
they're coming from that pot of movies.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
it's
I agree.
yeah.
I
And
think it's really
just to add to that, also we're talking about international vote in a lot of these series here. Jesse Plemons won Best Actor at Cannes. Kinds of Kindness is not really popping anywhere, but he was also a surprise nominee for Power of the Dog, and I think he is. I call him like this new age like Philip Seymour Hoffman, like just an actor's actor everyone likes. He's very talented, and I think he's great in Kinds of Kindness, depending on what you think about the movie. And
I could not agree with you less. I do not think he has a chance in hell. I love you, Jesse Plemons, but I'm sorry. That movie, they'll never get through, even if Searchlight was sending it out, which so far they haven't. So,
He's a talented guy, though. Very
Sorry,
talented guy.
Jesse. All right, we're going to have to end that one there. Thank you all so much.